introduce sequences. Now, sequencing refers to putting events or information in a specific order. The ability to sequence requires higher order thinking skills, from recognizing patterns to determining cause and effect and more. Sequencing helps students understand and organize material they've learned, as well as helps them solve problems. A sequence is simply an ordered list of numbers. Hey everyone, real quick, I just want to mention that this video is a part of a whole course that I made. You can find a link to this entire course in the description below, and make sure to click on that subscribe button. Let's do an example together. Here's a sequence. Actually, let's start with 0, 1, and then 2, 3, 4, and so on. This is different from the set of natural numbers. So it's not the same thing as the natural numbers. While the sequence is a complete list of every element in the natural numbers, in the sequence, we very much care what order the numbers come in. For this reason, when we use variables to represent terms in a sequence, they will look something like this. First, we'll start with A0, then A1, then A2. These are the terms, and so forth. To refer to the entire sequence at once, we write an with parentheses around this, and then n is a natural number. So again, I really want to emphasize these two are not the same thing here. They're not the same thing because when you write a set like, for example, 1, 2, 3, there's no order to the set. This set is the same exact thing, literally the same exact thing as 2, 3, 1. Those things are the same things. But with sequences, order matters. Now, sometimes we can write this as the same thing as an, where n is at least 0. That's another way you'll see this. Sometimes, if we're being sloppy, we'll just write an with parentheses around it. In which case, we assume we start with the sequence. We start the sequence with a0. We might replace the a with another letter, and sometimes we omit a0, starting with a1 instead. In which case, we would use n's greater than or equal to 1 for that instance, to refer to the sequence as a whole at least. The numbers in the subscripts are called indices. So those are indices, the numbers at least. So that's the, in this case, the plural of index is indices. While we often just think of a sequence as an ordered list of numbers, it is really a type of function. Specifically, the sequence an from n starting at 0 is a function with domain n, where an is the image of the natural number n. And so an, in this case, if our function was called f, let's say, this would be f of n. It's the same exact concept as a function. So later, we will manipulate sequences in much the same way you have manipulated functions in algebra or calculus. We can shift a sequence up or down, add two sequences together, or ask for the rate of change of a sequence. These are done exactly the same as you would for functions. That said, while keeping the rigorous mathematical definitions in mind is helpful, we often describe sequences by writing out the first few terms like we did right here. It's a lot easier because the domain for sequences is always the natural numbers or some subset thereof. Anyways, thanks everyone, and I'll see you in the next lecture.